So my bus exploded on the interstate. The way that I was bit by the music bug was I was walking down the street in Belgium. We had just moved to Belgium as a family. Suspicion of my father working for some type of covert situation. But we were in Belgium randomly, and I was walking down the street completely like feeling displaced. I mean, I'm already 17, so I'm like, what is me type thing. And I never liked Bob Dylan, and my friends had like uploaded a bunch of songs to my iPod at the time, and I had it on shuffle, and The Times They Are Changing came on, and it struck me in a way. I can still smell the air and the bakery and the rocks under my feet from the gravel and the driveways and trees, cars, and the strangeness of some of the environment. And I just like knew. I was like, whatever this song is doing to me right now, I want to recreate that and do that for the rest of my life. And that's what I'm going to do. That's when I like knew. And there was no like turning back from that moment. It was on then. I wasn't even thinking professionally. I was just knowing that I was going to do that for the rest of my life. I grew up listening to a lot of Jackson Browne. Interestingly, Jimi Hendrix is the reason I got my first guitar. But I loved his guitar playing, but I loved his songs. I just thought for a pretty horrible word choice, it was very electric all around. It did something to me. So I got my first guitar when I was 14, and the first thing I did with it was, write a song, and couldn't stop. Just like assessing, observing my little teenage world, and I wrote songs every day. Like when I was, in middle school, high school. And it was right. It just felt right. But like purpose hadn't been put into it yet until I heard that Dylan song. When I knew that music was what I was going to do, it wasn't like, okay, let's assess like what I need to do next to make that happen. I didn't really have any like concern about that. I just like felt that at that moment, this kind of invisible but very known path was in front of me, and I just had to put my feet on it, and listen to whatever was guiding me on that path at the time. Definitely a spirit came through, definitely a sense of belonging to that spirit, definitely a sense of this matters just as much as how much I love my family, type thing. It felt like it was built into who I was as a person, and that I just had to follow it, and that it wouldn't steer me wrong. Was going back now, like that's how I think I viewed it. I didn't really think much about it, I just did it.
Faith.
Yeah, I think that was my first like actualization of having a sense of faith in something I couldn't see. It wasn't a concept anybody told me about. It was a concept that I experienced, and so it didn't become a concept anymore. It just became a way. And yeah, that has always been the thread that has been pulled from, still now. If there's anything that I wish that I'd known a little better when I set out on the path to be a creator and self-expresser, the one thing that I didn't fully consider until relatively recently was that this was like a business that I was running. That this was a way to make a living and put food on my table. Honestly, that really wasn't too big of a factor, and I know that I'm very blessed in not having to have worried about that because I signed like a deal pretty fast. But as far as the organization of that goes, as far as like, yeah, I do have goals. Like I'm a very goal-driven person. I'm always competing against, what I've done before. But now it seems that, especially with this love that has entered into my life, that this whole album is really devoted to, there's such a bigger sense in like a smaller way. It wasn't like, look at me, which I never intended to be that way anyways. But I guess the best way to put it is, I don't want to be alone when I put the flag on top of the mountain, and what value that has. It doesn't really matter, what maybe professionally I achieve, as long as I'm doing everything I can for myself and my people and working really hard. And, that requires a sense of, how do I, have longevity with this? How do I continue growing a business and keeping steady with it, and being aware of kind of all the ins and outs? I didn't pay attention to a lot of that for a while. I wish that I had, but I learned quick and fast, and I have a great team. So it's not really about like the placement of that person in the industry as far as what they might be able to do for you. That can always be the quickest thing to leave. I like to assess the character of the people that I, work with, upon meeting them, like catching a vibe. And, it's, if there's kind of like a shared belief in what it is that like they want with me and that I can do with them, people that you could achieve synergy with, and like the people that you want to high five, at the end of the road that you've been working really hard to get to. Like, who do you want to high five? That's kind of like really the assessment for me. Yeah, I think that's why like it's been a little bit of a longer road for me. Early on, like when I was in the Nashville publishing scene, I signed with BMG, and I was lucky because the guy that signed me, his name is John Allen. He's kind of a legend, but I've been in offices, I've played for people and, big companies and all this, it felt like dudes with a cigar, kicked back and they're like, show me what you got, kid. I'd play on the songs that I cared about, and they didn't really care about those, but they cared about the ones that maybe I'd co-written and didn't care that much about, that they saw immediate commercial potential in. And what I found was that I could take two routes then. There was a fork in the road. I could either take that route that like all these people that, they're kind of showing, hey, this amount of money to sign here and this and this and this. And it didn't feel like selling my soul, but it didn't feel right to me. It was like, you could be this guy, you could be this guy. I was like, I don't want to be those guys. I want to be me. I would rather, I guess figuratively fail at it and still be true to what that path had said to me on that road in Belgium, than to ever do something that would like thin that in a way. And I found out pretty quickly that was gonna be a little bit longer of a road. This business is, especially now, we want to make something really fast and we want to see it explode really fast. And there's a lot of artists, a lot of talented artists that have experienced that. And that's amazing, but I've never wanted that for myself. I've kind of always wanted to earn every step of the way, not for pride's sake, but so that I know I can turn around and see very clearly and know very fully the footsteps that led to those ramps up. And, it's been kind of a slow build, but I've been able to do it the way that I feel like is honoring that path the best I can. I've said this many times, but records are what Jackson Browne said, is they're a record of events. That's what they were, and that's what they are. I've always wanted to tell the story of the time, and all of its ugliness and beauty. And I made my first EP was I dealt with a lot of substance abuse at the time, and I wrote about how things just fail that way, in spite of your best efforts. And then the next record was okay, these are my best efforts, I'm trying. Next record was okay, I'm better, I've been clean a little while, what's the world look like? Next record was wow, things still do fall apart, and maybe in heavier ways, having more clarity in your spirit. You experience the sting is a little more pronounced, and I wasn't anticipating that. But I overcame that. I learned in my own ways how to deal with that. And so I took a little bit of a break. I lived for a little while, and there was still this I felt solid, but I had a bit of a loneliness going on here. That path that I had been put on didn't seem to be the only thing that should be fulfilling me, because it wasn't fulfilling me anymore. I just got off the road, and it was the most successful tour that I had done, and I was able to do some stuff I'd wanted to do for a while, but I was still really lonely feeling. So long story short, that's when I turned my attention to that path that I had set myself down on and many years ago, and wondered okay, what is that spirit? What is, I'm a creator, surely if I'm able to create, then my ability to create had also been created. And I wanted to know what the source of that spirit was. I felt like that was a recipe to why I felt so unfulfilled in a lot of ways, in spite of some success going on. And ultimately, it led to an experience that was not unlike that on that road in Belgium, but it was way more powerful, pronounced, kind of out of body, where I realized that I have been given all of this, and that my job now was to, what I had been given, to let go of it, to not hold it so tightly, and that in doing so, I would be honoring the creator. So it was like a surrender moment. A couple weeks later, I met this girl in South Carolina. Our families were vacationing, and I met her at this tavern, and her whole family was there. It felt like I'd known them my whole life. It turns out they live in Nashville. She lives 8 minutes from my house. And so I realized, in this surrendering to God, in this surrendering of me, that things seemed to open up. Basically, upon returning to a sense of faith and direction, spiritual direction, this love arrived in my life, and my entire world brightened and changed. And I thought that was going to lend itself to all of this heightened creativity, and it didn't at first, because this was new territory. This required a different type of muscle when it came to the craft. And so I listened to that spirit again, and it was just kind of you need to live in this for a bit. You need to know what this is to really value it, so that you can say what it truly is. And so I just waited a while, and 2 weeks before pre-production, the whole album came out. So the album is a testament to the transformative power of love. It's gratitude towards my maker. It's gratitude towards the roads that led to understand those things. That all of the missteps and the ditch falling was truly worth something, and it was worth more than I could ever imagine. Yeah, that's what this record is about. That is one thing that I have learned in my thing when I'm doing like meet and greets and stuff, and I'm meeting the types of people that listen to my music and buy tickets and merch and stuff. It's not just this it's not even about me. I don't feel that's what I'm most proud of building a career where it's not really about me. It's about the work that I've done, but it's not even about me then either. It's the communion that they get with that. And there's a lot of people. I get a lot of addicts. I get a lot of people that are still in active addiction, that are in and out of rehab. I've had people come up to me and give me the kind of the eulogy booklet from their son's funeral at OD'd, and they played one of my songs there. That there's no bigger win than that, because I don't win, we win with that. God wins with that. Goodness wins with that. And to be someone that is, helps to do that, I feel really honored at this time of my life to be in a place to have the clarity to know that that's what we're really doing it for at the end of the day. Oh man, there's a few I wouldn't be able to say on camera, only because some of the best times were some of the worst times, but to be honest with you, my band and my crew we're pretty boring on the road. We don't really get into any shenanigans or hijinks, we'll prank each other every once in a while. But mostly we get in the back of the bus, after the show, we have this routine. It's and we're back. There's a few of us, crew will stay up front, and we're playing Super Smash Brothers, and we're just kind of duking it out like that. And there's pretty high stakes in that, fragging rights and stuff. And I'm competitive, so when John, my drummer, who's infinitely better at Smash than I am, will inevitably win, I gotta carry a little bit of guff until sound check, and then he says something stupid and we laugh. No, nothing crazy. We're pretty wholesome. Oh, actually no, wait, you could just scratch all of that, because there is a crazy story. So my bus exploded on the interstate. We were on tour with Noah Khan, and we were rolling down in Pennsylvania. Ironically, it was called Intercourse, Pennsylvania. So we're rolling down, and I'm in my bunk, and I feel the bus slow down, and I sense this commotion. I'm not quite awake. And then I kind of pull my curtain, and in Bonk Alley, there's just a ton of smoke. And I was like, is someone blazing right now? Which is fine. It's, but it's a little early. And then I hear a commotion in the front lounge, and then the door slams open, and my tour manager is yelling and saying, the bus is on fire. The bus is on fire. Get off the bus now. And as he did that, the door to the front lounge slammed shut, and the electronics shut off, the hydraulic to open it. So three of the biggest guys in the crew had to pull the door back enough for us to get out. So we get off the bus, it's smoking. The bus driver is I don't know what's happening. And he was we'll have to get your essentials, but I think it's tame and we're going to be okay. We'll just have to send this to get it fixed, and we'll send you a new bus. So we run back on board, you know, cover our faces, and I just grabbed like my toiletries, like my backpack. You know, my stage manager grabbed the bottle of tequila, and John grabbed the Switch, you know, the Nintendo. And we get off and we have our essentials. We're in underwear, by the way, skivvies, just like full on skiv. And just like a bunch of dudes just on the side of the interstate naked. And we have the stuff, and then not 3 minutes later, as we're walking down the interstate because we had to meet a shuttle to pick us up, the bus exploded. Like flames, like it was like from a movie. We were all off board. Everyone was, thank God. But it like flames burst out of the windows, and that thing burned to the ground. The interstate shut down. It was like the biggest smoke cloud I'd ever seen. And we were all just like a couple of guys when we got the new bus were like a little bit scared to get on it. You know what I mean? PTSD. So I did survive a bus explosion by like 3 minutes, which is insane. Very, very insane. Noah FaceTimed me and was like, what just happened? And I was like, honestly, I don't know. It was a time, but we luckily, as I was walking down the road in a joking way before it exploded, I raised my fist like, here we go, and holding my bag. And at that moment, my drummer had been on the other side because he's a photographer and he was like taking pictures. And as I went like that, that's when the bus exploded, and he got the picture of it. And so we put it on merch. Yeah, but we used that picture as the poster for my solo acoustic tour, which was called Too Chill to Kill. And it was like, we've got to put this on t-shirt. It was my highest selling piece of merch to date. I mean, I got so much respect for Jason Isbell. He, early on when I was like trying to make my way out, you know, the creaking door of addiction, he was a very helpful source to me, more so than I think he knows. Like, we're not super tight or anything, but actually saw him the other day. We were walking into the Green Hills Mall at the same time. But I used to, we had traded numbers. We played a few shows together. I would text him and be like, do we have to small talk? Like, I can't I can't small talk. So like, there's no way. And he would respond every single time, long messages of like, here's how I did it, and it gets easier, and all of this. And it was so cool because before I became friendly with him, he was like a hero, songwriting hero to me. So yeah, and his newest acoustic record is Out of Control. So good. He continually is a source of inspiration for me. Whoa, man, that's cool. I'm a big reader. Currently I'm reading about like the history of Judaism, of the Hellenistic element in Greek and Roman culture. I honestly used to be bored about that, but like, I can't put it down. I'm just fascinated by kind of the origins of culture and the way that people have interacted with one another. It's fascinating to me. Aside from like the nerdy aspects, I like to draw, you know, I like to doodle here and there. They tend to come out like a little bizarre and maybe like creepy, but you know, we've also used that on merch too, so I guess that doesn't fully count. I'm looking for hobbies, to be honest with you, that aren't like ultra creative. You know, my creative bandwidth seems to like be very full these days, and I tend to want to, you know, do something that's going to continue the creativity. I mean, I'm a big I've been playing Batman Arkham City Asylum Midnight as the third time that I've saved Gotham this year. So, you know, that kind of thing. I daydream quite a bit on the road. I feel like I'm kind of a boring person when it comes to like my own proclivities.
Yeah.
Like I don't knit though. You know, not that that's boring, but I would find that very unsettlingly boring. So, yeah, I'm just vibing most of the time. I tend to kind of like feel like I have to always be doing something with my hands. So the times that I like kind of force myself to just be and be present in the moment, very difficult for me, but I've gotten better at it. Live album or studio album? Live album. There's no question.
Got it.
If you're good enough, live album. No, it's a hot dog. Nope. Red. I definitely love blue Doritos, but I think red's OG. No. No, it's its own form of matter. No, but it's the greatest thing to eat. I was a junior Olympian figure skater. Yeah, I was a pair skater. So I was just like tossing her around, you know, just like throwing her in the air and catching her. It's a very romantic sport. You know, I was only 13 or 14, but man, I loved it. I was like really like weirdly good at it, and like moved away from home to train with Olympic coaches. It was pretty crazy. Turns out like the coaches were having like a weird affair situation, so I had to like go back home, and I attempted to play football, which was fine. Yeah, figure skating was everything to me for like 8 years. So did all the ballet and stuff like that. I'm down with physical grace, you know? I'm down with that. To be honest, I skated to Nirvana and Pearl Jam. I considered it the toughest sport one could do. I called it extreme skating, and I refused to say like double axel. I was like, well, this is a 900. You know? Oh, triple, you want to do a triple Salchow? All right, 1440. Let's go.
Hey, stunning people. If you're loving our music, make sure to give us a like and a subscribe, and comment below who you want to see next.